All right, I'll count us into the show, the audio portion in three, two, one.
Welcome to episode 117 of the Narcissistic Music Disorder.
What's up, buddy? How are you this morning?
Oh, not bad. Not
I
bad.
am I'm a little voice is a little bit crunchy today, but
Three
I'm
shows
excited
this
about this game.
weekend.
I know, man, I played a
Well, you
lot. It was
only
good
really sang at the one
I sang
song?
one song, which is awesome. I loved it. I'm looking forward to
CCR,
next
yeah.
week. Forward to them next week. That's fun for me. That's a lot of fun for me.
That
And
was
I'm so
cool.
glad you guys came out. It was
Yeah, that
fun,
was
man.
fun. That was a good
Yeah,
time.
so I've got a gig on Tuesday, so hopefully this voice will swing back around. What other news do I have? Is there anything? I told you I put it in my case and didn't get it pulled out, but I'm diving into Cactus very soon because I'm
Oh, okay.
excited about that. That was one of those bands that I had heard like I got to get this right because Carmine is Carmine Apiece and Vinny is Vinny Appice. They like separate the pronunciation of their same name,
Even
which is
though
really
they're related,
brother.
correct?
I believe they're brothers.
Brothers. Okay. I knew
Yeah,
they were related for sure.
yeah. So it's Carmine Apiece and Vinny Appice. But anyhow, so Carmine Apiece. I mean, I'm not like I didn't know who he was like during Hot Legs and stuff. Like I wouldn't know the drummer in Rod Stewart's band back in the day,
Right.
or that he wrote the song for that matter. But he came on my radar when he joined Ozzy's band because he was in Ozzy's band for like Bark at the Moon era.
Yes. And Blue Murder.
Yeah, well, which would have been after Ozzy. He
Right.
was with Ozzy in like
Yes.
'83, so comes on my radar then. But all these musicians, tons of them from like the generation before me, they all talk about Cactus, all of them. Like what a cool band it was. And there's a band called Anvil. You know, they
Yes.
had the documentary out, and
Yeah.
that dude, I can't remember if it's in that documentary. I think it's in that documentary where the singer Lips is his name. He was like walking to school one day and he goes by this house and he's like, every time I'd walk by, there'd be Cactus. The band Cactus would be playing like every day. And that's how Anvil be kind of formed, was
Oh,
because he
okay.
heard this Cactus record coming out of this dude's house who ended up being the drummer in Anvil or whatever. So I'm gonna check him out. I swear I'm trying to think of my next good drive I can listen, but I'm in because I'm excited to know everybody loves them. I heard the one song you shared with me that had the
Oh, Let Me
eruption,
Swim. Yeah.
and I'm excited to hear the rest because that sounded cool. So getting off that topic, today's topic is what?
Songs about cities or states.
I went all cities this time. Um, this was fun, dude.
Yeah.
And I have one on my list. It's three songs, maybe four. It's four songs, same city.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
couple songs that for like songwriters are just the sweetness. And I think it's those major cities like, Detroit,
Yeah.
Chicago, the big.
LA. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So this will be a fun one for me. And I think my list is pretty good. I'm pretty proud of it. A couple of them, let me see here. Probably one or two are pretty predictable. You'll know that they're on my list.
Yeah.
Um
These
the
are
the
all like heavy rotation for me as
Oh
well.
yeah, mine too. Mine too. The other thing is I also have, I think I've one. I'm not 100% sure it's an actual city. So when we get there, you can help me.
Oh, yeah. I was
Um,
thinking like fictional cities too. Like Zip City is.
Damn it. Don't, dude. Well, I'm
Okay.
going to start us off then,
Okay.
since you ruin everything with your knowing what I'm going to say before I say it. Um, my first one was Zip City by the Drive-By Truckers, the
Yes.
Mike Cooley song, which is on a Southern rock opera. And
Yeah.
dude, I've told you before, like my hierarchy of writers in the Truckers was always Jason, Patterson, Cooley.
Right.
And so, I mean, and I love Cooley's songs. The weird thing about Cooley and Patterson a little bit too, like those dudes don't always rhyme stuff. Like
No.
Cooley's not concerned with rhyming at all. And I think there's something in me that is conditioned to rhyming, to thinking rhyming is A song? I don't know
Yeah.
what that means, but
I,
but Cooley Zip City, obviously I love it enough that when I had a band that we threw together and it needed a name, I used Zip City.
yeah.
Which I still think sounds good for a band name. I still love it. And
Speaking of
I'm glad I
speaking
used
of
it.
the rhyming thing, and
Yeah,
you know the song by Hank Williams Jr., OD'd in Denver.
I think so.
The rhyming thing, if you are into that, that song will bug the shit out of you because he says like, um, she treated me nice and I'd like to find her again, but I OD'd in Denver and I just can't remember her name. That doesn't rhyme. Nothing
Yeah,
about that
but it's
is,
melodically cool. It's
yeah, it is.
melodically
I mean,
cool.
it's kick-ass song, but it's just there's things in it that like that doesn't rhyme.
Yeah. Jason Isbell does that occasionally, like will shape the vowel to match what he wants it to rhyme, that I mean he does it really well. But
Yeah.
enough about those clowns. I'm back to Zip City. I'm not done with my my review of the song Zip City. It has some of my favorite Cooley lines in it. Um
Yes.
like I like where he says like the girl's mother is
Her
saying
daddy hates him or something
yeah.
like that.
Well there's something where he says you're tired of me taking you for granted. And for granted's a mighty big word for a country girl like you or something like that. That's your daddy talking, and he talks about her brother who works at the Reynolds wrap factory, and
Yeah.
he, as long as Reynolds keeps everything wrapped up tight, that's pretty good. My favorite line in Zip City is the opening line where your daddy was mad as hell. He was mad at me and you when he tied that chain to the front of my bumper, pulled me out of that ditch that we slid into. That's a
Yeah.
great line. And I do like the line, I don't know why I put up with his shit when you don't put out and Zip City so far away.
Far away.
That's killer, man. So yeah, that's my first one. Cooley and Drive By Trucker, Zip City. What do you got next?
Mine is from the latest album from Ghosts of Sunset. The song is called Two Tickets to Tokyo.
Dude, stop. Really? That's on
Yeah.
your list for real? Or are you just trying to make me feel good because
No, it's for real. I mean, I told you
you did
that's
tell me.
that's your Hanoi Rocks tune, man.
Dude, that's exactly what it was. Todd and
It's
I,
got the sax and everything.
I'll bet you $1,000,000 I could find a demo of it. Like when we first came up with it, like usually when we first come up, it'll just like the idea will literally be tagged. The file will just say idea. And then
Right.
as it shapes, it becomes something. We'll attach something to it to remember it. And I'll bet you there's one that says Hanoi idea or
Yeah.
Hanoi groove. Yeah, you know what? Thanks for saying that. That's really cool, by the way. But
It's
I like that song too. I mean, I do try to listen to these things as like someone who likes songs, and I like that one a lot. I like the story, the spy versus spy
yeah.
story, and the whole thing.
Yeah, the
Um,
escaping and
you
new
know what? I'm going to share an
identities.
idea with you. I'm going to share an idea with you. So, uh, you know, and we don't talk about like Ghosts of Sunset a lot. Although, if we're going to talk about Ghosts of Sunset, dude, I do want to take a second and mention Todd Long's internet radio program.
Yeah.
All I want to do is rock. Um, so people got to check that out. So search that. It's all I want to do is rock. With Todd Long. I think it's on Sundays at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Um,
There's a Facebook group, I believe.
yes,
So
and he plays like cool stuff. Like really, I saw his playlist this week, and I mean, it was like everything from this band called Blackfish that I think you knew. Did you know the band Blackfish? Does
I
that
know
ring
the
a bell
Black
to you?
Moods, not
Yeah,
Blackfish.
no, this band called Blackfish that he turned me on back
But
in
he's
the
got
day.
pop punk on there. He's got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he does like the last half hours like hair metal or something. It's really
Yeah.
cool. And his hair metal is it's never, nothing but a good time by Poison. It's always like Shotgun Messiah and
Yeah.
Sweet FA and all the bands you mentioned. So I digress. Now I'm so far off. I forgot what we're talking. Oh, yeah, Two Tickets to Tokyo. Anyhow, the idea is I'd like to do a video that's like spy versus spy. Remember that from Mad
Yeah.
Magazine?
With the
Yeah,
crows.
just remember I want to do that. So, all right. Yeah, well, that's nice of you to mention that. That makes me feel good, Scott. I hope people check out that song.
From the album Breathe on Golden Robot
Well,
Records.
dude, it's coming from you. Let's see what your recommendation. Let's see the weight you actually do carry. You're always bragging. No, I'm just kidding. I better be noticing a uptick like in sales enough
Oh
where
yeah,
I can buy
you
a new
get
truck.
ones of clicks.
That's
Nobody
true,
listens to me.
dude. Dude, everybody listens to you. Our last show, with Melissa Dillon, where you and Melissa spent an hour and change beating me up. That people are still talking about that. I had people rallying to my side, by the way. They knew I was out of my I was definitely out of my element. It was just like
That was still fun.
it was a lot of fun, man. But it was definitely Donnie, you're out of your element. Um, so I'm gonna jump into this next one of mine because it's deep, man. It's one, two, like I said, it's one, two, three, four songs.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, same
and
city.
this all the same city. The first one is by Ben De La Cour, and it's called Tupelo.
Yes.
It's one of the first Ben. I think it's the first Ben De La Cour song I ever heard, and I
Okay.
saw a video for it. It was really cool. Very dark, very very cool. It's a
Mine
murder.
was
It's a
Sobriety
murder
and the
ballad.
Woman.
Yeah, mine was Tupelo, I think, and it's because I saw him play it live when I was down there playing at that with him. Um, so I heard him play that live. That was cool, and it's dark. It's a murder ballad. Then I have the Tupelo, Mississippi Flash by Jerry Reed. Have you ever heard that tune?
I don't think so. No.
So I'm not some huge Jerry Reed guy, although I like him. And he was, in the 70s, he was Jerry Reed, right? He was like
Yeah.
a household name.
I know the
Uh,
classic stuff. Yeah.
but my buddy, who isn't a huge music guy, he's the guy I talk about a lot because he has like, we grew up, he had 5 albums. As an adult, he'll even tell you, he's like, oh, at one time, I asked him, like, what's your music collection right now? In Pat, it's not something we would talk about, but I was like, oh, what? And at one time in his life, he had like, I forget, like one Van Halen CD, the Ally McBeal soundtrack, and something else. I swear that was it. So he calls me one day. He's like, hey, man, you ever hear Tupelo, Mississippi Flash by Jerry Reed? I'm like, I'm not sure. It's so cool, dude. It's about this guitar player who goes to get a record deal and gets turned down by this guy. And then eventually the dude ends up driving the bus for the Tupelo, Mississippi Flash, this
Okay.
hotshot guitar player. So I have that one in my Tupelo. Then I have an old Webb Pierce song called Tupelo County Jail. Have you ever heard that?
No.
Yeah, that is a
I know
song
the
that Greg.
Tillamook County Jail by Todd Snyder.
Oh yes, so do I. Tupelo County Jail is like this old Webb Pierce song. Craig and I do it sometimes. It was on in 1980. I think it was 89. Craig Miller made me a cassette tape with all sorts of songs. He thought that me, 19-year-old me, no, that's not true. I hadn't graduated yet. So 17-year-old me should listen to. And one of them was Tupelo County Jail by Webb Pierce.
Oh, okay.
So
Wow.
we still do that song. And then my final one is Jason Isbell's Tupelo.
On my list.
That's a jam, dude. I
It's
love
the
that
when
song.
that record came out, I kept playing that song
Me
over and
too.
over.
Me too.
That's the one I kept going back
Me
to.
too. Me too. I
And the line that I like in that one is because he's sober.
I haven't
You know,
been wasted
he
in
said,
a,
I haven't been wasted in a long time, but I got it. I got the windows up and so I got a cup of
yeah,
real good wine. That's just
yeah, yep, it's killer. But tonight it seems just fine, or just fine, or just right. Yeah,
just right, something like that. Yeah,
that's a
I
great
just kept
tune,
going
man.
back to that song. Yeah, that one's on my list. So
Yep. So Tupelo is one of those musical cities. I think Tupelo is a great fertile ground for songwriters. And I
yeah,
guess it's because Tupelo, Mississippi, is the birthplace of Elvis Presley. Correct?
I believe it. Yeah, and a lot
I
of
think
blues
it is.
guys are from that
Yeah,
area.
I think that's the birthplace of Elvis. Don't quote me. I'm going to be embarrassed if it's not, but I'm going to say it is. I'm going to say it is. So yeah.
I think you're right.
So Tupelo, you had Tupelo. We both had Tupelo from Jason Isbell. What do you got next?
I have from our friend Ben De La Cour another song, Uncle Boudreaux Went to Texas.
That's a great song, dude. That's a
Um,
great tune. Good pick, man. That's a killer
that's another great dark story about his
with some great lines too.
yeah, I mean his uncle telling him these stories when he's a kid, like your Uncle Ricky type of
Right.
thing. And
And his
and
dad
then
were
he's like,
his
the
dad's
line, I always did believe him. My daddy told me that he was full of shit. He said the
yeah,
closest Boudreaux ever got to Texas was Willie's greatest hits.
that's killer. That's a
And
great
then
line.
and then at the end of the song, he's going through photos and he finds the picture
Right.
with him in Towns and it says Cactus Cafe, Austin,
Hmm.
1989 or something. It's fucking, I'm like, no,
Yeah,
it's just, he brings it
killer.
full circle. Just the lines in there, like he played me those old Waylon songs with his eyes screwed shut tight with every line. Just,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can
he's a great.
see that
Ben
song.
Delacour is a great songwriter, man. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I
he should
think
have a
in
Grammy.
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think he's. Uh,
He's a
I
folk
said
hero.
it. Yeah, he really is. He really is. I love Ben Delacour. I love him, and he's. I mean, obviously has become a friend, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful for that. Has been on our show. I've played with him more than I probably deserve to. He's just the best. He's the best, and has really gotten to a place in his life where he's healthy and doing well. Because when I met him, he was not in the best of places. And I told the story is that first night I saw him, I mean, he was, I mean, we've all been there. I certainly have, but he was a mess and he had restrung his guitar like 5 minutes before he started, dude. And it wouldn't stay in tune. And at some
No.
point, he just didn't care anymore. And then he was on the ground for a while. And I was like, I watched it the first night and I'm like, God, I have to play with this dude tomorrow night. I'm like, ugh, like what is this? Then he comes in the next night and just floors. I mean, everyone loved him because he's Ben Delacour. I didn't know him, so hadn't developed that yet. But the second night, he was on his game big time, and it was like, whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah.
This is who he is. Not the. I thought, well, the other dude was who he is all the time. I'm like, I don't quite get this. But that second night, he was on his game, and then I was hooked, man. I was
Yeah, he's
hooked. Yeah,
unbelievable.
that's a great song. The closest Boudreaux ever got to Texas was Willie's greatest hits. That's a great line. One of
Such a
those ones
great
you wish.
song.
I wish I could write like that. He's
Oh,
killer. My next one is now this is another NMD thing I've learned. If you like know a song by an artist, right? Like I know this song by this artist, and then had discovered it was like a cover written way back when by this
hmm
other band, the NMD and you will want to quote the first band, like, oh, here's a song by, right?
yeah,
But you know damn well you learned it from this person, but you'll
right.
still go, oh, so I'm going to pick the song by a band called Hello. It's called New York Groove.
Oh, the Ace Frehley version
It's of
and stuff.
course I got it from Ace, of course, but my NMD would want to go, by the band Hello that
Well,
I don't think I've ever heard, you know.
yeah, it happened the other night at your when you were playing with the Carl Webb band the other night. Um, you guys did Poncho and Lefty,
Right.
and
And he said Haggard and Willie.
I'm sitting there. I looked at Heather and I go, Towns Van Zandt, actually.
Did you hear him say Towns Van Zandt? He did
No, I did
say it.
not.
He did. Yep, he did.
Okay.
Yep, yep. He
But
did
the
for sure.
NMD and me looked at Heather and I go, Towns Van Zandt,
No, but
actually.
he said it. I know he did because I
Okay.
registered it too.
uh,
That's one of those songs that when you play it as a cover, um, you read the room and like if you need a hit, you're like, this is Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson. If you need credibility, you go, this is a Towns Van Zandt tune.
yeah,
I'm guilty of that for sure. Like, oh, this is a song by Towns Van Zandt if I'm playing at the bookstore or whatever. But if I'm playing in the bar,
yeah,
it's Willie and Merle.
it's Willie and Merle.
Yeah. What do you got next?
I have you took Tupelo. I have Amarillo by Morning, George Strait.
That's I've told you before, right? That I'm not a huge. Oh, you know what? Can you put a pin in this song? Because I forgot to. I got to go back to New York, back in the New York
Oh
Groove
yeah,
by
yeah.
Ace Frehley. I'm sorry. Uh, we're very sidetracky today, and I love that. These are my favorite times. But that's a tune that was on Ace's solo album, which I
Yes.
think was the coolest of the Kiss solo albums. I believe New York Groove was the biggest hit from all those
Yes.
Kiss albums, and it's just the groove and everything is just it's killer, man. It's Ace at his best. It's a weird song live. It's a weird song to do live. It just is a tough song. Kiss, full makeup Kiss, like reunion Kiss, they were playing it live, and I don't think they played it live back in the day.
Mm.
Probably in the I would guess in the late 70s, early 80s, when they were trying to cross over, they probably played it. But yeah, New York Groove is by Ace Frehley was my jam there. Now we're under your George Strait tune that I am not a super deep George Strait guy. My wife is. I mean, my wife still thinks
From
he's,
Straight from the Heart, his second record.
yeah, my wife thinks he's the sexiest, coolest dude on earth. But that tune is a classic, man. That's
I
a
stayed
great
with
tune.
George until the 90s, and then I moved on.
I don't know why I didn't get into him. I don't know
Um,
what I was lacking or what I was
man,
missing.
it's just the
But
interpreter of a song. He's so
yeah.
good at it. He doesn't write much. I think, as far as I know, he's only written one song called "I Can't See Texas from Here," which is also on this record.
Okay.
But he does a lot of Gary Stewart, which, as you know,
You love.
um, so. But Amarillo by Morning's just always been a favorite. I can't sing. I sing like an amputee. Can't hold a note. Can't carry a tune. Um,
Oh God.
that's from the Bloodhound Gang. But when I used to do karaoke, I could sing this song.
Oh really? Well, I
So
would think that would be a good
kinda.
one to sing.
So
Like I think that'd be a good one to have in your
it doesn't
repertoire.
go too high or
Yeah, it's right in Scott's wheelhouse. Well, good. So when we do finally have our live NMD show, you can sing that song for
oh
karaoke.
yeah, yeah. Everybody
That'll
will
be
look
great.
forward to that.
I'm sure people are probably scheduling right now. We have to do that sooner than later. Oh shoot. Hopefully I'll record over that. I didn't erase something from last time. So hang on, you know what I'm gonna do? No, I'm gonna let it go. I think it's gonna be okay. Um my next so you had Emerald by Morning. I got you know what? I'm gonna use this one because I do listen to this song a lot. And this song for some weird reason, it kind of like for me, it's a vision that maybe I don't quite like understand. Um, but there's something about the Clash's London Calling
Yeah,
that I mean, I'm not that versed with that. I don't know that era of English history, right? But that to me, London Calling sounds like boots in the streets. Like I don't know, just the whole groove of it and the whole feel of it.
yeah.
It just sounds to me like it's I don't know, like punk music. It sounds like punk rock to me.
It's a punk anthem for
It's
sure.
a
Yeah,
punk anthem for sure. It's killer. And the other thing is for a guy like me too, is it was advantageous because it had a video. There was a video for it.
right.
And you'd see it. And that even for me, even for a hair metal type guy or whatever I wasn't, London Calling, they look so cool, dude. Paul Simonon with his bass super low, and
Yeah,
I think they're on the Thames, right on the river
right. There.
in the
Yeah,
video, and you can see the breath. It's cold out,
it's cold.
which is a video technique we'll have to talk about someday too, because I like it when you can see when they're playing outside, you can see their breath. The YouTube video for Sunday Bloody Sunday has that at Red Rocks. I don't
Yeah,
know how
Tom
that
Kiefer
works.
about froze his ass off doing was it Coming Home where they showed him like freezing?
Oh yeah, he was really
He said
freezing.
he almost got frostbite doing
Oh
that
my
freaking
god.
video.
I appreciate his dedication. I was talking about Tom Kiefer last night, as a matter of fact, how much I like Tom Kiefer. All right, what do you got next?
I have LA Woman from The Doors.
I'm glad you have that because I know how much you love the Doors, and I'm glad you didn't discriminate. I'm glad that LA Woman wasn't too popular for you.
No.
Because that's for me, I think that might be my favorite Doors song. I just love it. I love everything about it. I like playing it. I like how it starts. I like even the sound of like the ride in that song, how it
Yeah.
starts, it kind of fades in.
Yep.
I love that. I love all the lyrics. Even though, Light My Fire was played at my wedding ceremony.
The
Um,
intro is great. Um
the car sound, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. What is
And
that?
yeah,
Is
that bass coming in because they
yeah.
had the bass player from Elvis's band play on that record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they're
Did
hoping
they
that would get Jim more interested because he was such an Elvis fan. So
did
they had the bass player from Elvis's band come and play on the LA Woman record.
I was gonna ask you as a Doors guy, maybe you can answer this for me. Did they ever have a bass player live?
Not that I remember, but it was always just Ray doing it on the
Yeah,
keys.
on the keys.
But like last night, a buddy and I were at a party and we were talking about the Stones bringing out blues guys like Son House and I don't remember who else,
Howlin' Wolf
Howlin'
and
Wolf.
yeah.
And I said, "Have you ever heard John Lee Hooker do L.A. Woman with more or Roadhouse Blues with Morrison?" And he's like, "No."
Either have
So
I.
yeah, it's killer. John
Okay,
Lee Hooker and Morrison doing Roadhouse Blues. It's sweet.
I bet it is. Wow. I gotta write that down because I don't want to check that out. Roadhouse Blues is overplayed, um, for sure, right? Especially by bar bands.
Oh
But
yeah,
dude, it is still a every if you are desperate, if you are in a rock and roll band and you're at a club and nothing's working. Roadhouse Blues, you're
Johnny Cash,
always
Roadhouse
cool.
Blues. Yep.
Roadhouse Blues, you're always cool. People are gonna dig it. And of course, you're gonna be able to hit that one line 3 times. Woke up this morning and I got myself. I mean, and
Yeah.
it feels good because people are singing back, and you feel like you're, and you're making that happen in some way, even though you're not. It's really the Doors doing it.
Right.
Um, yeah, good one. I'm glad you picked that. I'm proud of you for that. That's a good one for you to pick. I would not see you do it. I thought you'd have some Doors tune, with some weird city in it, like that no one had ever heard. Wow, that's a good one. Good pick. I'm hitting here's one of my obscure jams right now. It's off an album called Phantom Power by the Tragically Hip, and the song
Yes.
is called Bob Cajun. It's about again, song about Bob Cajun. And I'm like, I didn't even know what Bob Cajun was. I could tell it was like a place, but I didn't know what place so I had to look it up. But it's like this city. It's a city in Ontario,
I was
and
gonna
it's
say
about
it's in Canada for sure.
yep, it's about 100 miles north of Toronto. And it's this, like, the narrator in the song is a cop who's thinking about quitting his job and all this. It's just so good, man. And there's some great lines. And I had a really poignant moment in my adult life that a dark moment, but it's always noted in my head because I was driving back from this place in a winter morning, 6:30. I was very hungover and probably still intoxicated. But anyhow, I was driving home and this song was playing. And it's kind of wintry feeling. You know how you and I have talked about seasonal feeling songs?
Yeah.
And because I think in the song he might talk about weather. I'm trying to think if there's a line that kind of puts it in this place. But yeah, Bob Cajun by the Tragically Hip. If you get a chance, check that out. And what do you got next?
Mine is one that I was wondering if you were gonna give me. It's called Busted in Baylor County by Shooter Jennings.
Hmm. Why
Because
wouldn't I give it to
it's
you?
a like a large area of
Oh, it's
Texas.
more
It's
than
like a
I'm gonna give it to
county.
you. Are you a
Um,
big Shooter Jennings fan?
I am.
So
This is from
I
his first record.
did that have the single on it,
4th of July, yes.
which I do love that song.
Yeah, great song.
Great song. I
Um,
love that song.
but Busted in Baylor County is about him and his band. Actually, it says they're heading from their second gig, or they're on their way to their second show in Texas, and they get pulled over. Cop searches the van, and there's just great lines in there, like that mutt found the joint that was buried in the my pocket in the piano seat, and
Yeah.
he's, don't you make light of the number one dope dog in the state. And then they get arrested and brought to jail. And then one line in there, he says, we got something about charged with possession of that sweet leaf. And they bust into Sabbath.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
cool.
then the chorus is busted in Baylor County. They get brought to jail. The judge says, um, sees who he is and says, "I'm sorry, but the charges are gone. I just got some autographs for you to sign."
Oh,
And
nice.
he says he got us out right quick so we could get up on the stick back to Wichita Falls for showtime.
Oh, cool.
It's a great song.
Well, I do. I feel like I need more time with Shooter Jennings. I
It's a
do.
killer record. It's a southern rock. It's country. George Jones does some stuff on there with him. Just like shooting the shit in the studio type of stuff, not singing, but
Is he
it's
producing more now than
Yeah.
with
He
Cole.
produced well, Coleman Williams, Hank Williams the third's son, Shelton's son.
Okay. I
He's
didn't know he
coming to
had
the
some.
Tip Top in August.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Hank
know he
he
had
goes
a
by
son.
Hank Four, or
Jesus
he goes
Christ.
by Four.
Okay.
But Shooter produced his latest record.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's got
Cool.
2 records out. I have the first one. I don't have his newest one, but I'm going. I mean, I've seen Junior, I've seen Shelton 3 or 4 times. I gotta go see his kid. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. You have an obligation.
it's fourth generation Williams family. My God,
Yeah.
in my town? Come on.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I know. The thing about Hank third that always gets me that, skipped his dad, Junior, is how much third, especially early on, looked like Hank Sr., man. I mean,
Yeah, for
he
sure.
just eerily so, man. Really
Sound
weird.
and look and
Yeah. And he could have rode that train, dude. He could have rode that Hank Sr. train and just been that. But he definitely is his own dude. I think we all
he is his own guy. He's not gonna do that.
no, which I'm sure there's many frustrated record label people. My next pick is Indianapolis by a band called the Bottle Rockets. Have you ever heard that
Yes.
song?
Oh
It's
yeah.
stuck in Indianapolis. That's
Couldn't tell you which
about,
record it's on, but yeah.
I think it's on 24 hours a day.
Okay, yep.
And it's, it has my favorite Bottle Rockets line where, if that jukebox plays, um, I think it's I'll puke if that jukebox plays John Cougar one more time. That's what it does. I'll puke if that jukebox, because he's in Indianapolis. Can't go east, can't go south. I'm stuck in Indianapolis,
Yep.
which is killer. That with a fuel pump that's deceased, and goes to the guy at Firestone. He hasn't called his girl in forever. He's got to call her to get money to get fuel pump because they're just outside of, and it's obviously a true story because they're like just outside of their hometown, which is
Yep. Then it
Festus,
broke down.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we stayed. That's a Dutch Henry. Nobody in Dutch Henry cared except me. But we were driving from like Chicago to wherever. I feel like St. Louis. And we had just hit the wall. Like we had to stop and get a room. And we stopped in Festus, which is home of
Oh,
the
okay.
Bottle Rockets. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Nobody else, everybody else was like, it's just the first place with a Jeep hotel. Yeah. So Indianapolis by the Bottle Rockets was my pick. What do you got next?
Michigan from Hello Dave.
I know the band name. That's all I got.
Okay.
Are they Grand Rapids?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah.
You have a connection, right? You know someone in that band?
I'm friends with all the guys in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Dave.
kind of a big regional band, right?
Hello, Dave. Yeah, Mike Heimbaugh, the singer, is from the Sturgis area, I believe, originally. And then Mike, the guitar player, Big Al, the bass player, Peter, um, the drummer. I'm friends with all of them.
What were they like, or what are they like? Because in my mind, they were like
they're
poppier.
like a they're like a Wild Feathers type of thing when they
See,
because they
again,
can all
that's
harmonize. All 3 of them can, except for Peter. I don't know if he sings or not because I can't see him back there usually. But bass player, Big Al, Mike, the guitarist, and Mike, the singer, can all sing
all sing.
and
So
harmonize together. So
that's not how I pictured them at all. I pictured them more like and I think it's because they're locked into something in my mind puts them in like the Kalamazoo scene.
well, I mean, they
So
played Michigan a lot.
yeah, that's probably why it'd be Hello Dave and Knee Deep Shag, or Hello Dave and this band,
They
or Troll
played
for
with Troll
Trout,
for
or
Trout quite a
yeah,
bit. Yeah, that's how I met them. Is opening.
gotcha,
They were Troll for Trout would play with them. Yep.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, see, that's probably why I have them in there too.
But yeah, we've been, become close with them over the years and get invited to private stuff, and it's
Oh,
cool as
cool.
shit. Yeah, they're. I mean, those guys. The guy that owns Jimmy John's is a huge fan of these guys. They played at Jimmy John's birthday party. It was them and John Mayer
Holy
at
crap.
Jimmy John's birthday party. Yeah.
Good God,
So
man.
like John Mayer's opening for Hello Dave or vice versa.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
It must be nice to have money like that. If I had disposable income, I would for sure have bands play at my house for sure.
oh,
Like have
absolutely.
backyard parties and have a kick ass band.
Like I said,
Uh,
I'd like to think I'd be a better person, but I'd just be an asshole with a helicopter. So
exactly. That would be me too, dude. I would be the same jerk. I would be far worse. I mean, with actual spending, folding money, oh, I'd be a dangerous cat.
I don't think I'd have a helicopter though. So I just buy my friend a nice plane because he's a pilot. So
Oh, there you go. And he would take you where you needed to go.
there we go.
Probably did. I picture you spending a lot of time back and forth to Texas,
Yeah,
you know,
Texas would be
to bar gigs for these bands you love.
prime location for sure.
Let's see here. My next. Well, speaking of which, I call me predictable, but I've got Lukenbach, Texas by Waylon. It's a. What do you want to say? It's all time classic.
Yeah.
In my day, as a young, like a little boy, I confused. I used to confuse Lukenbach with Lubbock.
Oh, yeah.
So for years, dude, years as a little boy, and I mean elementary age, I thought Buddy Holly was from Lukenbach, Texas.
He's from Lubbock, right?
Right, right.
Yes.
I confuse the two all the time. But I mean, come on, Lukenbach, Texas, still to this day, if you just sit down and play, like I sit down and strum a guitar with my son, he
Hmm.
knows the song really well, like on guitar, and it's still a classic. It's
Yeah.
killer. All the words are killer. I mean, everything about it's a great song. It's well written.
The
It's
shout outs to the legends in there.
right. It's just to me, it's just like almost like a signature Waylon song
It's
to me.
it's one of those songs where there is shout outs to legends, but it's timeless.
Well, and the thing
You know how
is, yes, it's
sometimes
timeless. Yeah,
there's
right,
shout outs to people and they're dated.
right, right.
That one's not.
No, well, again, yeah. God, what a great song.
Oh,
And of course the other, again, this is a merchant staple in our house is when you take the Willie line, when it's your turn to be Willie.
yeah.
Like what Quinn and I argue about it in the car all the time because we'll both sing the Willie part because we both think we're good Willies. And it's like, dude, that I sing, I'm like, I'm your dad. I'm the patriarch of this family. I sing any part I want. But we're both, let's go to Looking Texas. Willie and Waylon. And he flips it. He flips where he puts his name first. We think, yeah, I still think that's genius. So yeah, Looking Texas. What's next on your list?
Old North State by American Aquarium.
Dude, I have a friend right now a local guy who's a rootsy cat, right? He's into all that kind of music. He's a big American Aquarium fan. And I told him my story about you. And another thing I thought about you the other day. So my computer down here in the basement, I had to clear all the music off it because hard drive space is at a premium in the my
Yeah.
shitty digital world. So I cleared all the music off it, and one album remains, and it's American
Wolves.
Aquarium. Yes. So anytime, dude, I'm like, I was setting headphone monitor mixes last week. So to play music through it, I always play Family Problem. That's why it's my favorite song. It's the
Oh,
first song, and I listen, and it ends up on repeat, right? So I still that tune
this
is so
track
good,
is
dude.
also on that record. Wolves.
Okay.
It's about being out on tour and looking forward to going home.
Yeah.
Like he says, when I see the sun shine through the pines, Carolina, I'm coming home. And it's the only, there's a toast in there. And as far as I know, North Carolina is the only state that has their own toast.
Like,
And it,
what
it
is it?
goes,
Is it
I
white or
don't know
wheat?
verbatim, but it goes,
I
here's
hope
to the
someone got that
land of the
joke.
longleaf pine, the southern land where the sun doth shine, where the wind blows strong and the strong grow great. Here's to down home, the old North State.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
And
Yeah,
it's
we should
also
whip
got,
some.
I mean, it's got the lines in there. I've sent this line to you before. Uh, Blue ribbon cans and one night stands and parked cars with girls that know all the words.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude,
that's a
that's
great line.
oh my God. I always hurt the ones I love.
Yeah, that blue
He
ribbon
said, what
line's
does he say
killer.
in there? I got a girl, or I ain't seen my bed in months, but there's a girl who keeps it warm as she cries herself to sleep.
God, yeah. Yeah, that's good
I
writing.
only hurt the ones I love. And just, oh my God.
Yeah,
That dude
that's
is a freaking savage with lyrics.
are are they touring, dude,
Yeah, right now they're
right
touring this
now?
summer. Yeah.
How big of venues do they play?
They played the big room at the intersection with the truckers, but I mean,
That level?
they could easily play Elevation, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe in my head they're bigger than I think they are,
Right. I
but
do that sometimes. Like, hey man, I love this band. They're huge. And it's like they
but
come to town and they play
I
the
mean
local
if
bars.
I mean we talk about Jason Isbell and these savages. BJ Barham is a freaking savage.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the song All I Needed is
Yes.
about guys like him. I mean, he basically wrote a song about guys like himself
Which
that
is
can bring
isn't
you
that when
in
they're the
and
best? That's the best, dude. When it
he
is
gets
about yourself.
yeah.
Wait, who was it? I'm trying to think of who the producer was who said it to Ryan Adams during like a Whiskey Town recording. Like Ryan was taking track, shot after shot at the song. He couldn't sing it right. And the dude was finally like, go get drunk. This is
Yeah,
back in Whiskey Town. He's like, go get a bottle, get drunk, and come back here. Because you're not that guy right now. You're not the
right.
guy in this song, and you need to be the guy in this song. So yeah, that's cool. I know you I gotta dedicate more time to I just don't I'm either working on music or playing music. It's like I don't get to listen as much because I'm just not in those I can't listen on headphones in my workday. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
have a 15-minute commute from work and then I'm home and then home life is happening.
This is
That's the hardest part.
it's all I do. I listen almost the entire 8 hour day at work to music.
Yeah. And like my son is all day long on music, all day. He's
I
always
watch
got
baseball
earbuds.
at night, but music's playing. I don't need to hear the announcers. So
Yeah.
that's all I do.
Do you ever listen? Here's a side track. Do you ever listen to baseball games on the radio?
Sometimes.
I'm not a
But
sports
I'm
guy.
a Braves fan, so it's tougher.
It's universally known that I'm not a sports guy. My dad left when I was young. My mom was. We weren't watching baseball, that's for sure. Um, but in my fantasy world, like if I were to be a baseball person, like I would want to sit at the table with like a 6 pack of beer and a pack of cigarettes and an ashtray at the kitchen table and listen to a baseball game. That would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Me
That'd
and
be
my
awesome.
great
And
grandpa used to listen to baseball and play dominoes.
see, that sounds cool. That's a cool memory. Well, my other thing is I have this old 1950s table in my kitchen,
Yeah.
and it's prime for it. It's prime sitting. It's a great sitting table. And I don't smoke and I don't drink, but my little fantasy me. And I also don't wear like the blue shirt and blue matching blue pants work outfit like the old timer, right?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm wearing that and I'm smoking a cigarette and there's an open beer and I've got a radio and I'm listening to like a Tigers game. That's a fantasy world of mine. In reality, I would be sitting there going, oh, I hope someone gets a touchdown. No, I hope they get a goal. All right, moving on to my next city jam. And say what you will, naysayers, and the naysayers will naysay. They will say nay. Um, I Detroit Rock City by Kiss. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's Detroit Rock City. Don't pretend you don't know it. Don't pretend you don't sing along. Don't pretend you don't go get up and all. Don't pretend that if you're from Michigan, it's not a big deal to you.
Isn't that a song about a guy dying on the way to a Kiss concert in a car
It
accident?
is
Yeah.
crashes. Yeah, there's the whole thing like on the album on Destroyer, which is kind of a concept album. Like
Right.
but they get in the car at the start. He
Yeah.
gets in the car, you hear him slam the door and starts the car, and you can hear Rock and Roll All Night playing on the radio. Um, yeah, it's Detroit Rock City, dude. Everybody, and I'm telling you this from Kiss to, I'll bet you, I don't know, top 40 country people, whatever. I'll bet you in concert in Detroit, they all have at least once went, all right, it's great to be here in Detroit Rock City, and
Oh yeah.
that's Kiss, dude. That's Kiss. That's all I have to say. I'm putting that Kiss song up there. I'm prepared for the backlash. What do you
Oh,
got
I love
next?
it. I have two left. I have from Leon Russell, Manhattan Island Serenade.
I don't know it. I
One
don't know.
of the coolest. It's a man, it's one of my favorite songs. It's It's got an awesome rain effect to it. It's got that effect of a car driving by on a wet street.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Love that. It's got thunder. It's just a killer song. Sitting on the side or sitting on a highway in a broken van. Just the lyrics. It's sad. It's piano. I mean, I love Leon Russell. His stuff he did with Elton. I love everything about that weird cat. But
He is a weird cat, right? I mean, that's a weird
yeah.
cat. That's a
But
weird cat.
Manhattan Island Serenade is a beautiful freaking song. And if you haven't heard it, do yourself a favor and check it out.
Nice. My, I have three more. So here's one more. I don't know, man. This is from I'm late to not late to the game because I've known about this dude since I've known about music, I think. I'm late to the game because I shunned him for so long. And I was shunned him because a guy that I looked up to didn't like him. And I think I wanted that guy to like me. But it's Get Out of Denver by Bob Seger, a
Bob
fly
Seger.
bullet. I mean, I have said it a million times. I don't know. I can assume in the 70s, young people, when Seeger was coming out, like it was young people's music. But I have found, and I should research because I don't know how old Seeger was back then, but the older I get, the more I appreciate Bob Seger.
Yeah, me too. Same.
I just, the older I get,
Is
the more I love Bob Seger.
that's the record that has Nutbush City Limits as track one,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then he says in there, yeah, I just read in Rolling Stone, they said Detroit is the best audiences in the world. Shit, I've known that for 10 years.
Yeah. Bob Seger, man.
But he's
Dude,
got so many city songs.
yes. Yeah. Which is killer. I mean, and somebody actually had that Ike and Tina Turner song on our Facebook page. That was one of their picks.
Oh, I think it was
Um,
Chris.
yeah, that could be.
Might have been
That could be.
Chris. Yeah, our Facebook, Bruce had a bunch, and
Yeah, there were some good ones, I thought.
Ruthie, my old boss at BIM,
Yeah, that's I
my friend
remember so
Adam. Yeah.
I remember hearing Ruthie's name when I worked at the BIM in Muskegon.
Okay, yeah, she was
Yep,
a legend.
yeah, big time, big time. So your turn. I had Get Out of Denver.
My last one.
All right, what do you got?
One of my favorite songs in the entire world. Oh My Sweet Carolina by Ryan Adams
Dude,
and Emmylou Harris.
I still play it. It's still a classic. It's still beautiful. It's a fantastic song. That we've talked about it a million times on this show. But I'm just gonna say it again. That Heartbreaker is such a good album, dude.
That song and I could have well, this is a street, I think. La Cienega Just Smiled
Oh
is,
yeah,
in
that's a
my
good one too.
opinion,
That's on
probably
Gold,
my
right?
favorite song ever written. La
That's on
Cienega
Gold.
Just Yeah, that's
Yeah,
gold. But
yeah.
yeah, this one is from Heartbreaker, which it was on the Masterpiece show, and
It is a masterpiece. It is
it's
one of it has been one of the most inspiring albums I had heard in that kind of 10-year span. I mean, I hadn't been that excited. And not to flex my NMD, but I was a Whiskey Town fan from the get-go, from Town and Country. They were in Town and Country and No Depression. That's when I got hip. So that was where they would find a regional band to write about, right?
yeah,
And that was because 19 Wheels was in that segment or
right.
in that magazine in Town and Country. So I've been on Whiskey Town since it started. I had the EP. I
I
had
came in
Real
at
Free Delivery.
Faithless Street, I think.
Dude, so when they broke up, after they had done um Pneumonia, which kind of, I
Mhm.
guess it was released, but it kind of to very little fanfare. He was kind of out the door already, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
When Heartbreaker came out, I'm like, I'll give this a chance. And I was such a Whiskey Town fan, but Heartbreaker blew my mind, man. That
And
was so good.
and how much bigger could he have been
If he wasn't a
possibly
dick in a
without
shit show,
like
yeah.
he ran his mouth at Kevin Dubrow level.
Oh, dude, he was such a dick back then. I
I mean,
remember
I
he
remember him saying talking shit about Wilco that because they
Right.
had that documentary that came out, and he said,
Right.
yeah, they should change the name of it called to "I'm Trying to Bore You to Death."
Yeah. Well, I remember he threw someone, it was kind of a, like a Freebird thing
Oh, the
for
Brian Adams Summer
to call
'69
out
thing,
Summer 69 or Brian Adams.
which
I
is
remember it is
idiotic.
stupid. Stupid. So is Freebird, dude,
So is
to
Freebird,
yell out
yeah.
Freebird. But someone yelled in Lansing, at a show in Lansing, yelled it out, yelled Summer 69. And he stopped the show and threw him out,
I
had him
think my
thrown out.
cousin was there. Yeah.
Which, I mean, come on, dude. But anyhow, yeah, he's Ryan Adams. And yes, I mean, and you know how much I love Graham Parsons. There was a lot of Ryan as Graham Parsons comparisons, and
Absolutely.
and then Emmylou Harris.
He can
So I
still
went
do it though. His new stuff is still killer.
he I will say this. I talked to my buddy Todd about this because he loves Ryan Adams too. Ryan Adams is great, has great songs all the time, but you do have to wade through because Ryan Adams puts everything out. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Like
for sure. Yeah,
every
yeah.
every 35 minutes, it's like Ryan Adams has recorded new. I bet he's recorded a new album while we're doing this show.
He might have. Yeah.
So you do have to wade through some stuff, but he's still Ryan Adams, and Heartbreaker is still a masterpiece, and we agree on that. We've
Yeah,
agreed
yeah,
on
for
that.
sure.
All right, so I've got kind of two more in the mix here.
Okay.
I'll throw them together. I added one. I think that's where I got burnt. A song called Sault Ste. Marie by Joe Henry. That's a great
Oh,
tune. Um, that is off Short Man's Room.
I was just
It,
listening to that record yesterday.
it Sault Ste. Marie was on the same cassette tape that had Tupelo County Jail on it, and that Greg Miller made for me. And I feel like it was 89. I feel like it
Okay.
was 1989. Um, and I could be wrong. It might be 90.
I
But
had a
I remember he Greg, and it's funny because Greg Miller now is not a huge, he's not like super into Americana type stuff anymore, I don't think. But he was into Joe Henry enough that he put those songs on that tape, and I was like, what, can I get more of that? And then he taped me all of Short Man's Room. I had that from
okay.
him. And then he knew I'd like it because I was such a Jayhawks fan, and the backing band is the Jayhawks. And yeah,
I
and Sault
worked
Ste. Marie's great song.
that's we should do a show on mixtapes because I worked with a guy, an older guy, that knew like he'd see me wear my it was a place I worked in high school and he'd see me wear my like metal shirts and shit in to work because you could just wear whatever. And he brought me a tape one day and he's like, you need to listen to this. The very first song was Suffer the Masses by Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh, he was heavier than you. Like,
And I was like, what? And I remember there was stuff from Gutter Ballet on
oh
there
yeah,
and
Sabotage. Yeah.
just he got me into all this stuff that I wasn't he
Do you
tried
still
with
listen?
Anthrax, but I couldn't. I had to fast forward through those, but
Why? Why do you always got to poke? Why you always got to poke, man? Why you always poking at the Thrax? What's your problem, dude? God, go listen to
uh
Armored Saint. Go listen to Armored Saint if you like John
yes,
Bush so much.
that's a good idea.
You still like Sabotage a lot too, don't you?
I do, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Old
They're
and I
cool.
like with John and with Zach singing. Yeah.
Did the John Olivia, was that his name?
John Oliva, yes.
Did he pass away?
No, his brother Chris did in a
His
car
brother
accident.
was Chris the guitar player?
Yes.
Okay.
Badass.
Yeah.
John
I
was
only knew
responsible for most of the lyrics, and he's kind of the guy behind. He's the, I mean, a musical type of dude. You
gotcha.
know, if like Ghost has this song called 20s, which sounds like Ghost the musical. I mean, that dude could turn that song into a whole story, probably. He's amazing. He's behind the brains behind the whole the
Trans
yeah,
yeah,
Trans-Siberian
Trans-Siberian.
and I mean there's a bunch of them, but yeah, he's the main
That's killer.
he's really theatrical and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
different
Symphonic.
singer than Zach Stevens, but still that, operatic type of voice.
Yeah, like similar to Ghost. I mean, Ghost kind of has that too.
Yeah, oh
Um,
for sure.
my last pick is about New. It's about New Orleans, really. It's called Crescent City by Lucinda Williams.
Oh yeah.
It's such a good jam. She speaks in I don't know what it is. It's I don't know what that language is called, and I can't think of it. It's kind of a Creole, it's its own
Yeah.
language. French, this mix of French. She
I think they
sings
call
it.
it Creole or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she sings in that in this song. There's some lines that are that even I don't, to this second, I don't know. Like they go by and I just, whatever I say is phonetically fits, David, I don't know
Sounds like
how
the
I'm
guy
saying.
from Swamp People or
Exactly. Exactly. But the song has so many great lines, like everybody's had a few. Now they're talking about who knows who, there's a line in it. We'll take rides in open cars. My brother knows where the best bars are, stuff like that. It's because Lucinda Williams, and I worry about Lucinda Williams. She's had a stroke. She's out
yeah.
playing. She has Mark Ford in her band right now. Um, she's not playing guitar. I don't think she can anymore.
I
I'm
don't
not
think she
sure.
can. No.
But I just hope enough people hear Lucinda Williams, and appreciate her while she's here, because I just don't think people understand what she is, like what Lucinda Williams is. She's everything. I mean, I can remember seeing like Austin City Limits and stuff, especially like during the time of Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. Kenny Vaughn was playing guitar for her.
Yep.
And I mean, it was Jim Lauderdale was on acoustic and backup vocals. It was like she had the band,
Yeah.
and
I
people
don't
don't
think there's
appreciate.
any argument from you that if there was a queen of the NMD podcast, it's Lucinda.
I would agree with that. I love Lucinda Williams, and I I told you, I think, that I listened to her book.
Yes. My
Don't
wife
tell
bought it
anybody
for me
this.
for Christmas. I haven't read it yet.
Dude, please. It's
Is it
good.
great? You
It's
finished it?
really, and I know you read, especially with my eyes, I don't read much
Yeah.
anymore. I can't. But I listened to it when I was running,
Did she
and it's
read it?
her. Yes, dude.
Oh, killer.
And at first, at first it was hard to listen to. She's got a huge accent,
Yeah.
right? Louisiana accent. And then, like, it didn't take long before I started just wanting to hear her talk. I just wanted to hear her voice talk. And then, yeah, I can't wait for you to
Yeah.
read it because
A
we'll
lot
have
of
to
people
circle
like
back.
that. I'm not a big fan of the books on tape. I've tried them and I don't really,
Dude,
I'd rather
well,
read them, but
yeah, I love reading. I used to read all the time. Now I mean I got one eye that can't straighten anything out, so that really sucks.
yeah.
But so I listen on tape and I do it running. So right now I'm listening to Joe Perry's book, right? And it's
Okay.
Joe Perry narrating it. So I run or
Is it Rocks? Is that the one you're listening to?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I listened to when I finished up Wayne Kramer's book from the MC5. He passed like
Yeah.
well, I was just, and I told, maybe I posted on Facebook or something, but I finished it. And honest to God, dude, like the next time I ran, I was not depressed. I mean, I don't want to but I was like, damn, dude, I'm not going to get to hear Wayne because I was his voice. It was like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 30 minutes, so 3 miles or whatever. But for 3 miles, I'm just listening to Wayne Kramer talk. And it's like having a conversation. It's really cool. So, anyhow, so that is our cities.
I
And
had,
and what's do you have any?
you had Tupelo since we matched. I did have one that I crossed off. It's
Okay.
Texas by Junkyard
Oh yeah.
from the
You
first Junkyard
I
record.
like that. That band didn't get quite enough. They were a little I remember seeing the video for Hollywood and thinking they were a Guns N' Roses ripoff, but they weren't, but that
No.
you had that David Roach kind of he was almost like a tougher Axel. Like
Yes. Southern,
that
there was a southern tinge to the
yeah.
Junkyard.
Yeah, there was a lot of bands like that though, like Four
Yeah.
Horsemen, and I
Yeah.
mean, I love the Four Horsemen. I love that album. Um, I still think that Blackberry Smoke is kind of like the Four Horsemen. Like you could bring the Four Horsemen out right now and tweak a little tiny bit, just a little twist to a little more country even, and you
Yeah.
could sell them right now. They'd be Blackberry Smoke,
I mean, when I saw the Four Horsemen, it was with Junkyard. So
which would have been a banger of a gig. I bet that was cool.
that dude
I bet.
died, didn't he? From Four Horsemen?
Yes, yes, he did. Yep.
Frankie or something like
Yeah,
that?
Frank.
Star?
Yes. Yes, Frank Starr, I think is his name. Yeah, he did pass away. Yeah. So I have one honorable mention that I would like to include. It's
Last
all
train to
in
Clarksville. Oh,
Oh no, I love that's my favorite Monkeys tune. That's not true because I think Pleasant Valley Sunday is. Um,
Pete.
nope. I'm going to put Heart of Rock and Roll by
Oh,
Huey Lewis
Huey
and the News.
Lewis.
Come on, dude. All the cities. And nobody gets more pumped up than us in Heart of Rock and Roll because we get a horn stab and we get Detroit.
Detroit.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on, dude. That's gold.
Yeah.
That's gold. I don't care. You can live anywhere in Michigan. And when he goes in Cleveland, do, Detroit, you're like, yep, that's me.
That's
Me.
yeah.
I'm from there. I'm from there.
Doesn't matter if he
Doesn't
just says
matter.
Detroit. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, man. You got any closing words for us today?
You got to lose your mind in Detroit, Rock City.
All right, man. See everybody next time.
See you next time. Thanks, everybody.